Block Gemara. Today's daf is daf Kuf Samach Aleph. We are learning here dinim of writing a star, and we had that there was a specific kind of a star known as a get mekusher, where it started out by divorce, but they didn't want to make a distinction. So at that time, divorce and other stars as well. Basically, what it was is that they made sure it took they made it more detailed in a way that it takes more time to make it happen, to produce it. So they would write a line, leave a line blank, fold it up, sew it together. That takes time. Write a line, put a blank, and so on. And this is covered the main essentials like the names of the people, the time, the date, and exactly what was going on. That's called the taidif of this get. Now, where did the Adam sign? So we say they signed in the back of the get, but we had a machlekes. We had a machlekes between two Amoraim exactly where they signed. So we had Rab Huna who said that they signed between the folds, and in other words, on the blank spot. And then we had Rabbi Yimber Abba said, the witnesses signed, they covered all the writings. Because by this get mekusha, we had three witnesses, so they had three folds, and they covered each one of those writings. They had, a witness covered it. So therefore, that's how they covered. But the testimony, the signatures were actually in the back of the document, not in the front of the document, not in the folded part, which is sewed up. So then we started to discuss how do you make sure that that there was no cheating involved, that the guy didn't add anything, or so on and so forth. So we said like this: we're talking about according to Rabbi Yirmiyah Bar Abba, according to Rabbi Abba, who said that they basically covered all the words. How did we make sure that he didn't write a fourth line and just added another witness? Because you can add as many witnesses as you want. So we answered that if you thought that they signed horizontally, they actually signed vertically. And basically because, the one witness there signed vertically, and the one witness at least covers from the bottom to the top, and the other ones then we don't care about. So therefore, we're basically covered. Because if there's writing below the signature, we know that it wasn't covered by this witness. So then we asked the question, fine, but maybe he didn't like the last line, and he cut that out. Maybe the last line said there's a condition or something before this thing happens. He cut it out. The name of the signature. So we said that generally how people sign was Reuven ben Yaakov Aid. So they would cut off, they would cut off part of it. So we said, yeah, but if you cut off Reuven and you leave Ben Yaakov Aid, it's not no more you do who's Ben Yaakov. So we said no, but the Reuven Ben will put on one line there, and therefore, we made a takana that Reuven and Ben should be on the same line. So if you cut it off and you'll only be left with Yaakov, it's not right. So, if it would have said Ben Yaakov, that's good. But if it just says Yaakov, you know what's wrong? Yaakov 8. We know that you don't have to write the word 8 generally. But if you have a name, just the name Yaakov 8, that's good enough. So there's another takana, we don't write the word 8. If you don't write the word 8, it just said Yaakov, what do you call it? We know that it's not correct. So that's one answer that we gave. So we said that we make sure we don't write the word aid. We make sure that Reuven Ben are on one line. So therefore, this person, even if he wants to cheat, cannot cheat. But then we gave another answer up to the second answer. So the first answer is we took out the word aid, and that prevents him from just writing a name. He has to write the son of, and therefore, and since the son of and Reuven are on the same line, there's nothing he can do. He can't tamper with it yet. Okay, so then the Gemara's
identify some degree. You're basically taking away his name, leaving his father's name, taking everything out.
Yeah, so therefore we know that he won't do it. Because if all it says is Yaakov, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. Nobody signs that way. Either you write Yaakov Eid or you write Reuven ben Yaakov. Nobody signs the name myself, the son of somebody else. If you did that, that's obviously you're an Adis. That's what you're right. Reuven ben Yaakov. So that's how we avoid that. But another answer is maybe you do leave the word aid in there. If you leave the word aid in there, why aren't you worried? You'll cut out Reuven ben, and you'll just leave Yaakov aid. So the Gemara says, Lo Elam de Kosav aid. But the Yadinon Ba, we know the Chasimus Yodeh Lav the Yaakov. We know that there's no such person, Yaakov. Very difficult what Rambam says. But he says, we know that there's no person in this whole city that his name is Yaakov.
He wrote the Sheikh the Kach.
Yep. So we know every no. Whatever it is, but we know every single Yaakov in the city how they sign. Must be a city of 10 people. Actually, we lived a comedy year should be 100 people. So 100 people, they all know each other. Otherwise, so other limp shot is, I mean, yes, also but other limp shot is that the Ganif is scared that they might recognize, not that the Bezdin actually knows every single Yaakov signature, but he's scared that maybe they'll know that Yaakov doesn't sign this way, and he doesn't have the temerity to go ahead and write this Yaakov exactly. So therefore, he won't do that. According to the other view, this is Rabbi Rabbu, who said that you cover the writing. According to Rabbi Hunu, who says you cover the blank spots. We said, how do we make sure that he doesn't cheat and add some more? So we said, but for him, you add shodir v'kayim. You add the last line of the get. You're right, shodir v'kayim. This is definitive, and this is certified. You can't write anything after that. And even if you write something after that, you write a second time shodir v'kayim. We don't accept two shodir v'kayims in one document, only one. So that's how you protect. That's how you protect according to that. Doesn't help with your Abba because we never worry about you going to cut off. No, cut off. Okay. Says the Gemara. Maybe it's Reuven signing, but everyone has a signature. Maybe his signature is his father's name. Maybe that's his signature. So you're right. Yaakov doesn't sign this way. But Reuven can sign this way. It says Yaakov 8 because that's his signature. We know that Amoraim had signatures which are totally unrelated to the name. Here, at least, it's a little bit related to his father, for example. So before we want to give examples, it's not common that somebody should not write his name, but write his father's name. You have people who put an X, for their signature, but not using their father's name without using their name. If you're using a name, they might as well use your name or use your name together with your father's name. Says the Gemara, okay, maybe it's not even his father. Maybe the Yaakov is his signature, even though his name is Reuven, not because Yaakov is his father. That's how he signs. And we know that people sign all kinds of ways. For example, the Rav, we had this in Babbatzin, it's Rav Tzaya Kavra. He would draw a picture of a fish. That was his signature. Rab Chanina, like his logo. Rab Chanina Tzaya Charusa. Rab Chanina is a branch of a palm tree. Rab Chizda would put a samach, because his name Chizda is samach. Rab Hoshia would do an ayin, because the ayin is from Hoshia. And and the samach and ayin benes aimed in by the luchas, so therefore they felt it was a very important letter. Rabba or Rabba Baravuna, it's actually Rabba Baravuna Makusa. He would have a mast of a boat. He likes sailing. So L'chayda said maybe he used his father's name not as his father's name, but more as that's his logo. Yeah. We don't believe that a person would use his father's name as his logo. So or as his identifying mark. And so we're not choishish. If he would put his name Ben Yaakov, then it's an honor. If he only uses his father's name without his name, it's like using it for your. Okay. That's the last name. Yeah, but that's the last name. You don't do it on the first name. If you're already using names and you want to honor your father, you would constantly mention his name together with yours, I guess, when you sign. He said it's not covered. Says the Gemara, Mazutra Omalach. Mazutra comes back and says to them, all of these answers we gave to Rabbi Bar Abba, you don't need them. Why? You're worried that he's going to cheat, cut off, so you give him Maisa that Reuven Ben on one line, you take the word 8 out, and so on. But I'll tell you, he said better. He said that Kol Mekusha. You know how they did about him? You understood they only had one witness that went from the not vertical from bottom to top. The other ones could be any way they want. No, Kol Mekusha Shein Eid of Kolin B'Shita Achas. All 3 Eidim had to start from one point and end at the other point. They would either start in the very bottom, the last line of words, and sign vertically up to the top, to the very top line. or they would start from the top and work their way down. So basically, the three names were all the same length. Doesn't matter what the names were. They made sure it was all the same length. Like by Sefer Torah, you stretch out letters to make sure it fills the entire line. So they made all and therefore, if it's cut off, all three of the Adim suddenly don't have a first name, and only Ben, it's a red flag. What's going on here? Sometimes some people maybe they sign Ben Yaakov or something, but all three Adim, it's a red flag. They'll investigate what happened there. Okay, true. Very first of all, we're going to learn the end of the first page in Hedge, and we're going to learn interesting a glossary to the whole Shas. Everyone in Shas says who saw it, who was it, all these things, and Belaz and all that. But if you look in the Gemara, all the bends, and Rashi says they didn't get smicha, whatever, they get married. All the bends, all Shimon. Ben Zayme, Ben Azeh, Ben Nanis, things the fourth and also. All of them first name were Shimon. Wonder what the name Shimon has to do with that whole thing over there. Anyway, when we get there, Hashem, you'll find a daf. I'm sure they have something there. Why Shimon? Sorry? Yeah.
I see why I made fish. This is maybe going higher than this.
Yeah. But then he said, "Simon ba'alma yoris." Yeah. Okay. So think about it further. So this is how we resolve it. There's no problem anymore. Now we learn a number of din regarding stutters. If you erase things in a shtar, remember we said before that if you erase something in a shtar, it's all right as long as the erasure is not big enough as the word shoder v'kayim, and because then we're worried that maybe you actually erased the word shoder v'kayim and you continued adding whatever you wanted to add, and so on. So but other ones, less than that is all right. There is a big machlekes when if you say you erased more than that. So is the shtar possible, or we just don't read what you wrote in the place where you erased, or what you wrote, or what's afterwards? But before then, we do accept. And the thing, there's a concept according to many Rishonim that if you did not follow the ways of the Chachamim, even though maybe it's all right, this entire shtar is rendered possible. The Shulchan brings both opinions, but doesn't like that opinion. All these erasures you have to write the dain koyemen that we will make kaim. In other words, you have to make a summary at the bottom of the shtar, all the erasures that you made, and he said yes, and we erased the word in line number 3, we erased it right there, line number 7, and you collect it all and put it there. And the machlekes Rabbeinu Tam and others, whether you put it before the word v'konin or you put it afterwards. Then he said the next thing is the last line of the shtar should be a revision of what you did, of everything that's in the shtar. For example, it's a shtar of a loan, and you go all the details. Your summary is, and they bought from they made a kinyan from each other, or not, sorry, not a kinyan, that that Reuben lent Shimon $100. My timer. Why do you have to summarize? Why do you have to repeat again what it is? We made a rule. Because we are scared, sometimes you can't get the Adim. Sometimes the Adim are not professionals. You call the guy in the street to sign, and they don't sign very close, like mamash contiguous to the line before. There's a gap. Now, if there's a gap, it's a problem because then the let's say the Malva can add whatever he wants. Let's say the guy has a prime field, and Malva can say, and the field that I'll collect from will be the field over there. So we're scared. So what do? So we made a takana that the last line has to be a revision. And we will not follow anything new in the last line. So once we have that revision, who cares if there's a gap of a line? You can't add anything to it. There is a machlekes between the Samer and the Shach. What exactly it means, nothing new. Because the Samer says that Konin and Menei is not really considered new, because even though you might not have written in the top of the page, you just wrote, this is what's going to happen. And then at the bottom you write, and it actually happened. Because it's a continuation of the top, that's not called new. Double chodesh means like a tnai that wasn't there before, or like nominating a field and a poitiki or whatever, things that you didn't mention at all before. Because we don't want to learn from the last line, because could be it was blank and he added it. One thing that Rashbam says, the big Machek Rashbam says that if you did, however, add the word Shadar V'Kayim, none of this matters. Because remember, he said once you say Shadar V'Kayim, you can't write anything afterwards. So who cares? Who cares if it's exactly? So even if you don't revise everything else, you just put the words at the end, Shadar V'Kayim, no chashani. And most poskim hold that if you didn't revise, it's still a kosher stuff. Others say no because you didn't follow the ways of Chacham. How do you know there's only time to be learned? Here, if the Eidim distance herself, Shnei Shitim and Aksav, let's say there's a gap of 2 lines, and it did not say the words Shadar V'Kayim, we will not accept the get. Why? Some say because he didn't follow the ways of Chachamim. Others say because he has room, at least 1 line he'll fill and leave 1 line gap. And you'll think it's kosher because Eidim can't get it too close. So you allow up to 1 line. 2 lines you don't think it happened. So therefore he can add whatever he wants. It's not a kosher to get. Shita achas kosher. But 1 line is kosher. Why 2 lines are not kosher? Right? He might add something there that wasn't there. Because of Shita achas mezayif. So why is the blank 1 line we allow that? Maybe how can we allow such a get? What happens tomorrow? Everybody forgets whatever. He'll add a line there. The reason is we decided that we will not learn from the last line. 2 lines before we say it's not common for Eidim to sign so far away. So therefore, we don't want such a get because you're asking for trouble. You're asking for the Malva to, who knows what you can insert in that second line above the signature. Mashenken, 1 line we accept. So therefore, we make this thing, we make a rule. We will not learn anything from 2 lines before, because maybe he left it blank, and therefore we just revise it. By revising, we're not learning anything. There's nothing new there to learn. And that's how we avoid it from Shmamino. Right from here, and I guess we'll stop over here. Okay.